Welcome back to all of you out there in video land. Let's go ahead and have some fun. Let's just get right to it. Going to play for about 10 or 15 minutes, see if I can get to the final form. Then I will pause it and play until I beat it perfectly. And I'll unpause it, right before I beat the boss on, with the perfect little dilly-do there. So let's go ahead and have some fun. There we go.
A brawl is surely brewing, and begins.
That I get a death thing here. So let's go ahead and try again.
Good day for a swell battle. Now go! Here's a real high-class bout. It's on! Good day for a swell battle. And begin! This match will get red hot. You're up! Here's a real high-class bout. You're up! Here's a real high-class bout. You're up! Good day for a swell battle. And begin! a real high-class bout. Here goes. This match will get red hot. And begin. A brawl is surely brewing. You're up.
Alright, just as I suspected, the final boss is during the next transformation. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start pausing the game up until I get to this point. Otherwise, this will be a very long video. I am definitely not doing that well. But let's go ahead and see what happens, and maybe it'll just be a montage of me dying. Have fun. I'm just having a lot of trouble. I pulled off some amazing moves at the same time. I also did some really terrible things. So I gotta see what kind of charge. No. That doesn't do anything for the plane. That doesn't do anything for the plane either. So, but that one does do stuff for the plane if I recall correctly. So, let's go ahead and see what goes on.
Here's a real high-class bout. It's on.
Almost got her second transformation. It looks like she was going to go through it. I don't have any idea how to avoid those stuns, but I have figured out some other things. And yeah, that one coffee is the only thing that works for the plane. I wish the other things work for the plane too, but they don't. Alright, so let's get going. All right, back to the Viper. Let's see if I can do it. The Medusa. I swear it's too quick to react to. I'm assuming I have to, like, do that zip out. But I don't see her put her hands to her eyes until it's too late. I must be missing a cue. Alright, I actually managed to make it past the thing, but I got hit once, so obviously I'm going to lose. But let's go ahead and see what this final form is. Okay, so I won, but I'm going to have to redo it. So, see, I couldn't get any of the skill meter, the HP parry. I didn't get my parry. Oh, I did get the skill meter. I didn't get the 3 parries, and I got hit twice. As I said before, perfect or bust. So I'm going to be playing it until I get perfect. So I'll go ahead and pause it here, and I'm just going to beat it until I get the perfect ending. So I'm going to break my rule. I'm going to unpause it for a bit. I'm starting to run into some really bad controller issues, and I don't know why. It's not my controller. But in addition to that, this is another level where they stick a bunch of bullshit in the foreground of the screen. And there are times where like that one, let's see that ship come up again. That ship and this other ship get in the friggin' way. That one. They cover up things that I need to see. Like that, right there. It covers up the entire screen and I can't react because I literally can't see what I need to react to. It just really pisses me off. That's artificial difficulty. I mean, I don't know. It really pisses me off. It's like the only thing about there are only a handful of things about this game that piss me off. Sometimes the hitboxes aren't right, and I mean I died there just because of my own stupidity. But not being able to see the playing area, when there's so much crap, you literally can't see it. It's not a good difficulty. It's a bad difficulty. Let's see if I can get free here. Damn, that was a good attempt. Alright, going to pause it again. Oh, one more bitch. Oh, just one more bitch here. I really, 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 really hate the fact that the aircraft speed isn't always the same. And I don't know why. There are times where it just does not speed up. Oh, and in addition to that, I swear to God, the parry passes through pink things in the aircraft. It sucks. It sucks. But you know what? I actually do like this level. I just wanted to give a couple criticisms. You know, you could still criticize something and really enjoy it. And people need to learn that that is a reality in the real world with grown-ups. But, I mean, like, this fight, because of the stuff in the foreground, because of there being some hitbox issues, damn, missed those. I'd give this like a 7.5 out of 10, as opposed to a full 10. The slow stuff, the foreground, the random speed of the aircraft, the foreground issues, the hitboxes. I mean, I'm going to take off 2.5 points out of that. But 7.5 out of 10, to me, is still an enjoyable level, right? I know people are like, I want the 10 out of 10. But you know what? They're actual 10 out of 10s, actual 10 out of 10s are not as common as game reviewers would have you believe. That's just a fact. You know, like, how many people say that Final Fantasy VII is 10 out of 10? And how many people agree with it? Well, a lot of people think that it's a fantastic game, but not as many people think it's 10 out of 10. I think it's 9.5 out of 10. You know, that's my view, right? I really do like Final Fantasy VII, but there are definitely problems with it, so it's not a 10 out of 10. Secret of Mana, I think, is a 10 out of 10 for me, even though I understand why people say it's actually a 9 out of 10, because there are graphical errors and programming errors in the game. And not only that, but the original Secret of Mana had a bug with the mana orbs, and the only way to max out the sword mana orb is if you, oh, that was wasted. Is if you exploited a glitch, with a save file loading glitch. And that sucks. You know? It really does suck. I still haven't tested to see if it's possible to get the all 10 out of 10s with, let's see, okay. See, it's too fast. I can't do anything. Oh, damn. I guess I have to, like, stay flying away and just do this. I guess that's the only way. I think that's the only way. I'm gonna have to see if I can perfect that. Alright, so, anyway, you get what I mean? Like, what's a 10 out of 10 game? Is Zork a 10 out of 10 for best adventure game ever? No, it's not. I love Zork series. I love Return to Zork. I actually think Return to Zork is a 9.5 out of 10 because there is a bug that prevents you from getting Miss Peeper's Notebook completed. I plan on defeating that bug though, but I mean it's like there's a timing bug that's going on, and a rye bug, you know, with the rye whiskey. You know, so what is a 10 out of 10 game? That's just it. But these game journals say 10 out of 10, God of War, 10 out of 10, Sonic 06. No, I'm joking about that one. But you get what I mean, you know? So, in reality, grown-ups speak. This game, this level is a 7.5 out of 10. But it's really good. You know, 7.5 is actually a really good grade. see, again, there, I was moving like I was in molasses.
Here's a real high-class bout.
So,
Go.
when I say things like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, I want you guys to understand that I'm not talking in Metacritic or game journalist speak, right? I'm talking in real adult speak, right? Like, no, there is no way that this game is going to be higher because it has certain problems with it, right? I still don't know how to get past that sequence when she mixes ghosts with the pufferfish fish. I don't think it's really possible unless you're a god gamer. And you can't go into the background in order to avoid that. You just can't do that. Let me turn it down a little bit. I hope you're able to hear me. I wasn't sure about the sound balances I have going on the sound mixer. See, did you see that? Did you see that? I was actually the same distance both times I tried to parry, but one parry missed and the other parry hit. The parry boxes are off. They're just off. So you gotta like blow out of this first sequence. And there I got hit again. I can't see with all of these fucking foreground things. Anyway, so, but you guys get what I'm saying. You guys absolutely get what I'm saying. This is nuts.
A great slam and then some.
Alright. Whoa, I managed to avoid that one. Pretty sure I should have been hit about twice. Damn. Two pink parries at the same time. One I hit, one hits me. Get that. That's another issue. What games do you think you would consider to be 10 out of 10? And what games do you, and of those games, do you think that there would be legitimate criticisms where nobody else would consider them 10 out of 10?
A great slam and then some.
Here, let me give you an example of a game that I absolutely fucking hate. I completely hate it. A Link to the Past, right? If I ever play it, it's because somebody has kidnapped me and I'm suffering from Stockholm syndrome, right? So, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. I'll tell you why I hate it. Shit. I was moving forward and he just kind of slowly sunk down and got hit. He didn't move forward. So I'll tell you why I hate Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, right? The controls are sluggish. They are not as responsive as other controls. In fact, they feel like Zelda 1 controls. They're that sluggish to me. They feel like Zelda 1 controls. And that's why I just don't like them. I don't like the game. In addition, there is no real-world exploration unless you get a randomizer. Randomizer, you can actually explore. That's something that, believe it or not, was supposed to be part of the Zelda series. From the very first game, right? Very first game, it was supposed to be a create-your-own dungeon series. You know, the Legend of Zelda builder, or, you know, Link builder that Link maker people keep talking about. That was actually the plans for the original version of Zelda. They said, oh, we couldn't do it on the chips. But I believe that they actually could have done it on the chips. It would have been very difficult, but they could have done it. They did it with Excitebike, and the same process could have been implemented. So it's not a role-playing game. It's a fantasy adventure game. right? A lot of people call it a role-playing game. And yes, I hate it because people call it a role-playing game. I really do. People know better. Nintendo knows better. And yet, that's basically how it's marketed. God, I can't get past that with the ghosts. So that's 25 minutes of me dying and me talking about what's 10 out of 10. Anyway, so what would a 10 out of 10, I think a legitimate 10 out of 10 game be? No, it's not God of War. I keep forgetting I have these. I was literally swiping through it and I still didn't parry. Alright, Miss Pac-Man. Whether or not you enjoy it is immaterial. This is about what it makes a game 10 out of 10. A lot of people enjoyed it. It's one of the top video games of all time for quarters. Quarter consumption, right? Or money made. And Midway did it. Namco accepted it as an official thing. I think that Midway did the project without Namco's permission to begin with, and then Midway made it, right? So it wasn't the creator of Pac-Man that did it. It was, or the father of Pac-Man. It was Midway. But it still pulled in a lot of money. They fixed the 256 kill screen bug, right? And it made a lot of people happy. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Damn! I missed so many times with my special, and it was taking too long. So Miss Pac-Man, it did the same thing that Pac-Man was trying to do. It actually fixed what Pac-Man was incapable of doing. It introduced something new to gameplay genre, and that was a female protagonist, right? And you may think, oh, well, that's nonsense, but it's not. It's actually true. Miss Pac-Man was... a lot of people give her credit as being the first major female protagonist, although I believe that somebody... there's some people that found another female character that was introduced before Miss Pac-Man. So it did something new. It fixed a bug. It capitalized on a fun and engaging form of gameplay. Well, I should have been hit right there. Damn. Couldn't make it. Should have done Speedy Speed. And it utilized the equipment that it had to nearly the fullest extent that it could, right? So Ms. Pac-Man, in the history of video games, is a 10 out of 10 video game. What else would be a 10 out of 10 video game? Oh yeah, it had no major bugs, right? Another 10 out of 10 video game, well, I mean, here's an example of the 9 out of 10 video game. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII. It's not 10 out of 10 because there are a lot of bugs in it. And it didn't quite explain the ending in a way where all of the audience members got it, right? It didn't explain why Eris, or Aerith, or Earth, you know, the goddess of the earth, had to die, right? She had to die. That's not in question. She had to die. She pulled an Obi-Wan, you know? Damn! She should have gone into her second form by that point. Or third form. So nobody, and it ends. How does it end? Red 13 in the future brings his puppies to see the destroyed Midgard. Wow. You know, please explain ending to me, right? I mean, I basically figured it out because, you know, I was huge into mythology, right? I got the whole point. But the problem is if the vast majority of the audience, of the intended audience, if they don't get why certain plot things had to happen, then there's critical failure in explanation. There is. It's just a critical failure. Like, they have Eris sort of saying to Cloud in the City of the Ancients, Cloud, I have to go now. Don't worry about me. I'll save everyone. Right? That's sort of an explanation. It's enough for me, but it's not enough for 90% of the people who played the game. Right? So you have this constant complaint. Then you have the fact that you can have Phoenix Downs, which resurrects somebody after death, and yet Cloud doesn't use a single Phoenix Down to save Eris's life, right? They should have explained why maybe her death was a permanent death and not a rescue death. Instead, what happens is we wind up with 30 years of people saying, you can save Eris! You know, they really wanted to save her, but they cut it out because the producers didn't want it to happen. That type of bullshit, right? 30 years of that from people who aren't smart enough to follow the storyline. And then you also have, like my good friend, King Hippo. I consider him a good friend. Awesome guy. The vast majority of the plot is handled through a lot of reading and side quests. Now, I know that he did some of the side quests, but there were some side quests that he did miss, and like a bunch of us had to explain to him in chat, you actually missed some stuff, buddy. And he had a legitimate complaint. He said, it's stupid that I missed this. And he's right. It's stupid that they made it so that he would miss it. He is 100% right. His criticism, as much as I will playfully debate with him, and I will argue with him saying, come on, man, you gotta admit it's the best game ever, right? He was 100% right. They should not have made it so that he could miss it. And he's not the only person who missed it. A lot of people missed it. A lot of people missed it. Because there are people arguing on message boards all the time. So, what's the problem there then? Well, the problem there is with the game director forgetting that while he wanted to elevate gameplay storylines, and he did, he elevated with advanced concepts that were not in any other game before Final Fantasy VII in a way that was easily acceptable and accessible. There are some computer games that had high concepts to them, very high concepts to them. But on home consoles, up until Final Fantasy VII were the highest concept was Robotnik's using animals to power robots. He's evil. That's high concept, right? That's high concept for that type of gaming platform, for console games. And you gotta admit that Final Fantasy VII, for a console system, did something that no other console had really done before. And if you want to have a computer versus console debate, I mean, go ahead have it. But the reality is, consoles provided quick arcade-style gameplay. Computers provided word processing and higher concept interactions, right? Because that's just how computers were functioning during that period. That's not to say that there wasn't a little bit of both, or well, there really wasn't a little bit of both on consoles. There was on computers. Like, computers had Commander Keen. They had versions of Breakout or Bananoid, which was actually the Breakout clone that was really popular on computers. I thought it was just, like a ripoff, but it was actually very popular on computers. Bananoid, I think is what it was called. I love that game. Look it up, it's fun. But so computers had a little bit of both, but consoles did not. And let's face it, consoles were more easily accessible. God, that guy moves fast. Consoles were more easily accessible for kids than computers. Computers, you expected high concepts, right? You expected Lord British to produce a stunning tale for Ultima, right? You expected high concepts from computers in terms of text adventures like Zork. Zork was one of the first computer games ever made. There were a couple of other text adventure games made before Zork, and you did have like the very first-person dungeon on computers long before advanced graphics, right? But you get what I'm saying. Final Fantasy VII, however, for consoles was the first high concept game. And by high concept, I mean, I don't mean like, oh, look, it's a role-playing game. No, high concept means there's a ton of Norse, Greek, and Japanese mythology all worked into one. Where somebody who has taken advanced courses in mythology at college would be able to look at Final Fantasy VII and say, oh, hey, I know what this means. Oh, shit, that was so cool. They did this? They marketed this to 7-year-olds? To 13-year-olds? Wow, yeah, this stuff, I didn't learn about this stuff till I was like 18 and in college. And yet they said this for kids. Wow, this is amazing. That's high concept. Alright? That's high concept. Hey, I dodged that! What the hell? Do I just not have to attack? I'm not attacking, I still got hit. How do I dodge this? How do I dodge this? I'm gonna have to look up a walkthrough. I didn't want to have to do that, but I'm gonna have to look up for a walkthrough. That sucked. Alright, let me look up the walkthrough and see what's going on. Okay, so apparently the only way to break out is to constantly jiggle. I don't know. Jiggle the joystick. There's no way to avoid it. I don't. This sucks. This absolutely sucks. So this is now a 6.5 out of 10 boss because of that. That's like an unfair mechanic. That sucks. Okay, so
a great slam and then some.
You get what I mean. Like it had things that are very high concept that have never been done before. And I don't care if you like it or not. They had stuff in that game, in Final Fantasy VII, that nobody had ever thought about putting in a console game before in the history of gaming. And a Link doesn't even begin to come to that level. It really doesn't. God, that sucks so bad. that team up. And yeah, I mean, some games had mythology to them, but they didn't have the level of mythology that Final Fantasy VII had. And I say this as a former archaeologist and anthropologist. That was my job for 15 years, is dealing with advanced storytelling, right? Wow, I went right through that and I didn't get a single parry. So, but what problems did it have? Well, it was too high concept in some places, and it could have dealt with a little bit of explaining. You know? It could have satisfied the same game... God, I blew that. The same game requirements, the same high concept by having Eris, or Aerith. You know, the funny thing about Eris and Aerith, it was a mistranslation that she was called Eris, right? But Eris is actually the Japanese version of Eris, H-E-I-R-I-S-S. So North American audiences didn't notice because they thought, oh, well, it's because she's an heiress to ultimate power, right? But no, she's actually supposed to be the Earth goddess. And so it's supposed to be Aerith, or Earth, right? The Japanese version of the English or spelling of Earth. So her name actually works both ways, which is kind of cool. You know, a lot of high concept things wind up having a double meaning to them, or triple meaning, or quadruple meaning. You know, now people can absolutely like games that aren't high concept. And maybe some people can say, well, the high concept failed for me. That's true. A lot of high concept art only works for certain people, right? Even people who are into high concept. Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean it's invalid, right? It doesn't mean that it's not high concept. And just because it's high concept doesn't mean you have to like it. You know, and if you don't like it, doesn't mean that you're not intelligent, right? It just means that it may have failed on a particular level. So, bugs failed a little bit on the high concept, and there's some grinding in that really sucks. I mean, granted, grinding was seen as the norm, but there's some grinding that absolutely sucked for Final Fantasy VII. And, you know, I say that because there's some grinding I absolutely hate doing. So Final Fantasy VII, like, I'd give it, I don't know, 9.5 out of 10. Everyone else will give it 10 out of 10. You know, a lot of people will give it 10 out of 10. Other people say it totally sucks, and they give it much, much less. I don't agree with that, but, you know, that's the way they see things. And it's more than just opinion, right? There's people say, it's not just my opinion, they did this, this, and this. And they'll have actual legitimate reasons why they believe. You know, opinion is... See, that's a tricky thing about reviews. I've seen reviews that are both opinion and, like, demonstrably factual, you know? And I've seen reviews that are in between that. But, there are some facts that cannot be ignored, right? It was not a perfect game. 10 out of 10 is for perfect games. None of the God of War games are perfect games. None of them. I don't care how much you like mass murderer, serial killer, anti-God man. Don't call him anti-God man. I forgot his name.
Here's a real high
not
class
Chronos,
bout.
whatever. But they're just, you know, like, it has its own grind, it has its own stuff. Contra is not a 10 out of 10. I mean, who stops maximum lives at 33? Right. That's stupid. There's a lot of things that are stupid. You know, but it's difficult comparing 10 out of 10 games. Much more difficult than 0 out of 10 games, right? Like, E.T. is... I don't think E.T.'s 0 out of 10. It's maybe a 1 out of 10, right? You can actually sort of play it. Oh, good. I can actually get through it. Damn. Boy, that sucks.
Good day for
That absolutely sucks. This is going to be a pain in the butt to get perfectly. You know what? I think I'm going to stop it here and just list it as a failure. Go ahead and have the successful video shortly after. Maybe I'll give it one good try. Alright, I'm back. I'm going to mute myself, though. Damn it. Well, I still beat her. I'm done for the night. 47 minute. A- is still not perfect. It's not an A+. But I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And take care. Love y'all. Bye.